as RAM. So RAM here is a read and write memory as opposed to ROM. So it is a read write memory as opposed to ROM. ROM is nothing but read only memory. It means ROM is used only to read the contents, whereas the RAM can read and write both. The RAM is used in computers for the temporary storage of programs and data. Temporary storage, it means suppose the computer is doing some execution, meanwhile it needs some data or some program, so it is stored in RAM, whereas in ROM the data is stored permanently. Here in the RAM, data storage or the program storage is not permanently, it is just temporary. So whenever the computer needs to access, it goes to the given address of RAM and takes the data and execute it. So we can say that the contents of RAM address locations are used to read from and written to as the computer executes a program. So obviously this requires a fast read and write cycle. Means suppose the computer requires some data and it requires the data meanwhile it is executing some program. So in that time if it requires some data or some information, so the taking information must be very fast, otherwise the system will slow down. So that's why this requires fast read and write cycle times for the RAM, so as not to slow down the computer operation. So by this way it is faster than ROM, but it has a very major disadvantage. But a major disadvantage of RAM is that they are volatile. Volatile means if the power goes off, the contents will also goes off. So it will lose all stored information if power is interrupted or turned off. So we can say that RAM is volatile in nature. This is a very important point as for the exams point of view, because many times they directly ask the question like RAM is a volatile or non-volatile. So the right answer is RAM is a volatile type of memory. It means the information or the contents stored here is not permanent, and if while execution the power goes off, the contents will also goes off. So this is one of the major disadvantages of RAM. But the main advantage is, as we discussed earlier, it can do both read and write operation with equal ease and with a fast speed. So that's why our next point says the main advantage of RAMs is that they can be written into and read from rapidly with equal ease. Means reading operation and writing operation both can be formed, both can be executed rapidly without any problem. So we have concluded that RAM is faster than ROM, but disadvantage is RAM is volatile whereas ROM is non-volatile. ROM is used only to read the information, whereas RAM can read and write both. Now we are going to see the construction. RAM consists of a large number of registers. Each register stores a single data word and having a unique address. So RAM is made up of large number of registers. Each register have a single data word and they have a unique address. So that unique address, why? Because if the address will not be unique, then there will be a confusion which information you want. Means the CPU wants the information, the exact information should be fetched to the CPU. So that's why it must have a unique address. So RAM consists of a large number of registers, each storing a single data word having a unique address. The RAM typically come up the RAMs typically come with word capacities of 1K, 4K, 8K, 16K, 64K, 128K, 256K and 1024K, and word size of 1, 4 or 8 bits. So the maximum word size in the RAM is 8 bits, but if you want more, we can use many memory chips. The word capacity and word size can be expanded by combining several memory chips. So suppose we want 16 bit word size. So what we will do? We will use 2 RAM. So 8 bit for one RAM and 8 bit for another RAM. So if 2 RAMs will be used, so it will give us 16 bits of word size. By this way we can have any number of word sizes depending upon the requirement. Now we'll see the types of RAM. RAM is basically of two types: static RAM and dynamic RAM. Both we will see one by one. First we go for static RAMs, or simply called SRAM. So here the static RAM can store as long as power is applied to the chip. Means it can store only till the power is applied to the chip. So here its memory cells are essentially flip-flops that will stay in a given state or store a bit indefinitely. We know that for a flip-flop can stay in its state for indefinite number of time. So if it is made up of flip-flops, it means if a given state, in a given state it can stay for indefinitely. So it means it can store a bit indefinitely, provided that power to the circuit is not interrupted. Means as long as the power is given to the circuit, it will hold the data for indefinitely. But in dynamic RAMs, they store data as charges on capacitor. This is one of the major difference between the SRAM and DRAM. SRAM uses flip-flops while DRAM uses capacitors. We know that flip-flops, they can hold the data or they can hold the state for indefinite number of time, but capacitors, they discharge with time. So they discharge with time means if they discharge with time, it means they will lose the information with time. Hence the stored data will gradually disappear because of capacitor discharge. Therefore, it is necessary to periodically refresh the data. How to refresh the data? That is, recharge the capacitors. So this again a very important point as exam point of view. Usually we must know the difference between SRAM and DRAM. Both are volatile, but in SRAM both are volatile, but in SRAM it will hold the data if power is given. But in DRAM, even power is given, it may lose the data because it is made up of capacitors. So capacitor discharges with time, so it loses data with the time. So that's why we need to refresh the capacitor, or we need to refresh the DRAM periodically. Okay. Now SRAMs are available both in bipolar and MOS technologies. So SRAM are available both in bipolar and MOS technologies. Means the circuits of SRAM, we can make it by use of bipolar also, and we can make it by the use of MOS technology also. Again, here we have to make our choice. When we know that bipolar devices are faster in nature than MOSFET, so when the requirement is faster speed, then we need to use the bipolar technology. But MOS technologies, the biggest advantage with the MOS technology is they require very less power. It means they consume very less power, so they will be cost effective. They will be cheaper in cost. So the bipolars have the advantage of speed, while the MOS devices have much greater capacities and lower power consumptions. Much greater capacities means, see, MOS devices, they are very less in size. It means in a given chip we can implement more number of MOS as compared to bipolar. Now if we can implement more number of MOS, it means we can have more memory size. It means it will have a greater capacity. So whenever we have to qualify that what we need. If you want greater speed, we will go for the bipolar devices. If you want greater capacities or lower power consumptions, we'll go for MOS devices. Now we'll see its structure one by one. So here a typical bipolar static memory cell is a static memory cell by use of bipolar. So here is the diagram, basic diagram. We can see that we have two transistors, Q1 and Q2. They are NPN transistor. This is our collector, this is base, this is emitter. Here we can see that this is a multi-emitter transistor, and we are using two resistors here, 1 and 2. This is basically a TTL by use of transistor logic. So it's a basically bipolar TTL RAM cell. So as we can see that the bipolar cell contains two multi-emitter transistors and two resistors. About this we have already discussed. Now we will see by the using NMOS technology. A typical NMOS static memory cell can be drawn as, so the same memory cell, the previous memory cell was made of bipolar devices. Now this is for MOS devices, and in MOS devices we are going to use NMOS. Basically there are two types of MOS devices, NMOS and PMOS. Here we are using NMOS only. So we can see that the total number of transistors are 6, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, Q5 and Q6. Here VDD is power supply and this is the ground point, means Q1 and Q2 are connected to the ground and Q3 and Q4 are connected to the positive power supply. Now here we can see that bit line, this is active low while this is active high. So this is bit lines are worked as column, while we see that this is the row select line. So this is how the NMOS RAM cell can be made. So as we have already seen, the NMOS cell contains 6 N-channel MOSFETs. N-channel is same as NMOS. NMOS is also called N-channel and PMOS is called P-channel. So here we have using 6 N-channel MOSFETs and no resistors. We know that resistors are very heavy in size. Now here we are not using resistor, we are only using the MOS devices. It means it will be less in size. So more number of transistor can be implemented on a single chip. So in a same size of chip, it will have the MOS devices, MOS and RAM cell will have more number of transistor as compared to the bipolar. So its capacity will be more. Now we'll see the next technology, CMOS technology. A typical CMOS static memory cell can be drawn as, so this is the diagram for that. Now here CMOS. MOS consists of same MOS technology, metal oxide semiconductor. Here CMOS means complementary. Complementary MOS. So CMOS is complementary MOS. Complementary means it will have both NMOS and PMOS. So here we can see that Q1 and Q2, Q1, Q2, Q5, Q6 are NMOSes, whereas Q3 and Q4 are PMOSes. Any CMOS device have a general structure of one pull-up network and other pull-down network. Output is taken in between both of them and input is given to both of them. Usually PUN consists of PMOS and PDN means pull-down network consists of NMOS. Pull-down network is connected to the VDD and PDN is connected to the ground. The reason is NMOS devices, they passes strong 0 and PMOS devices, they passes strong 1. That's why pull-up network is consist of PMOS and pull-down network consists of NMOS. Now here we have again 6 transistors, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, Q5, Q6. Q1, Q2, Q5 and Q6 are NMOS while Q3 and Q4 are PMOSes. Other things are similar to the NMOS RAM cell. So this is how we have made CMOS RAM cell. Now the RAM ICs are most often used as the internal memory of a computer. So it is internal memory, not usually it is internal memory, while ROM can be of external memory also. Like we have ROM disk, CD disk. CD is one very good example of ROM. So it is externally applied, but RAM is internal memory. So again it has to be fast. Now we have discussed three types of memory cell here. One using bipolar, other two using MOSFET, in which one for NMOS, another was for CMOS. Now we have already established that bipolar devices are faster than MOSFET devices, but inside bipolar devices also the circuit we saw, it was made of TTL logic. Now ECL is the fastest among everyone what we have discussed till now. So the RAM constructed using ECL technology have the highest speed, but they consume considerable power. In fact, all the bipolar devices, they consume power and are not available in large memory sizes. Again, this is the problem with all bipolar devices. Hence, they are only used if the speed is main concern. This also we have discussed earlier already, that bipolar devices are used only when the main concern is the speed. So we have seen the SRAM. Now we are going to see the DRAM or dynamic RAM. DRAM or dynamic RAM. Now here dynamic RAM, they are in the fabrication of DRAM we use only MOS technology, fabricated by using only MOS technology. So obviously if we are using MOS technology, so they will have very high speed, low power requirements and moderate speed. So again I repeat, they have very high capacity. High capacity, why? Because we know that most devices are less in size, so we can implement more number of transistors, so it will have a very high capacity. Again, most devices, they consume less power, so low power requirement, but they are slower than the bipolar, so it's a moderate speed. But the problem is they need to refresh periodically because they are made up of capacitors. Means in MOS technology we store the data as a charge of capacitor, and the charge of capacitor discharges with time, so we need to refresh it periodically. So generally SRAMs are faster than DRAMs, as this already we have discussed, and also SRAMs, they do not require refreshing, means their circuitry will be very simple, but DRAMs have higher capacity and lower power requirements. Means when we want speed we will use SRAM, when we want more capacity and less power requirement we use DRAM. Now the typical DRAM memory cell is, here we are using only one transistor. Here again bit line for column, address line for row, and this is the capacitor in which the information will be stored as a charge. So this is the diagram for the single transistor dynamic memory cell. Now we will see some question that was asked in GATE examination. So the first question is, static RAM is preferred over dynamic RAM when the requirement is. The options given are slow speed of operation, larger storage capacity, lower access time, lower power consumption. So we will see all the options one by one. The first option says slow speed of operation. We know that static RAM are faster than dynamic RAMs, so this is not possible. Option B, larger storage capacity. Now dynamic RAM is made up of MOS devices, only MOS devices, but static RAM can be made up of bipolar devices also. So dynamic RAM will be having more storage capacity than static RAM. So this option is also not a right option. Now lower access time. Lower access time means access time is lower, it means the speed is more, and yes, this is exactly why we prefer RAM over this is exactly why we prefer static RAM over dynamic RAM. So this is the right option. B option is lower power consumption. We know that dynamic RAM is made up of MOSFET devices, so they consume less power. So here static RAM consumes more power, so this is also not a right option. So our right option is option number C. Now we'll see the second question. The question is, which one of the following statement is correct? The answer to this question is very direct. RAM is a non-volatile memory. So we know that this is wrong because RAM is a volatile memory. That is our second option. This is right. Third says ROM is a volatile memory. This is also wrong because we know that ROM is a non-volatile memory. Now RAM and ROM both are non-volatile memory, that cannot be possible. So the right option is option number B. We see the third question. A typical cell for a DRAM can be implemented by using how many MOS transistors? So we have just seen the implementation. We have seen just the dynamic ROM DRAM. We use only one NMOS. So option C is right for that. And finally, we see the fourth question. This question has some statements. Consider the following statements. First, MOSFET ROMs have much larger capacities than those of the BJT ROMs. Second, BJT ROMs are faster than MOSFET ROMs. Third, BJT RAM memories can be static or dynamic. Now the main question is, which of the statements given above is or are correct? Options are 1 only, 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3. So we will see one by one. The first option is, first statement is, MOSFET ROMs have much larger capacities than those of the BJT ROMs. Yes, it is a right statement. MOSFET ROMs have much more capacities. Second option, BJT ROMs are faster than MOSFET ROMs. Yes, this is also a correct statement. We know that BJT devices are faster than MOSFET devices. So BJT ROM will be definitely faster than the MOSFET ROM. So this is also a right statement. Third, BJT RAM memories can be static or dynamic. Yes, we know that RAM is of two types, static or dynamic. So this is also a right statement. So according to this, the right answer is 1, 2 and 3. So this is all about semiconductor memories.